Hello, professional fantasy football league players. Welcome to the Stardom Cinema Show for Week 8. I'm your host, Josh Martin. You know how this show works. I don't know about you, but I can't believe it's Week 8 already. Playoffs are literally just around the corner, a few weeks away. So I want to make sure you're in them. I want to give you the guys who you can start this week to get a win. Start preparing yourself for what the playoff picture is going to look like. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I apologize. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I know I can. So let's get right to it. I don't want to waste anyone's time, especially my own, because my throat hurts. So we'll start at quarterback today, and the guys I think you should start this week, Andrew Luck, going up against Tennessee. I have him ranked 6th in my weekly rankings because of Tennessee's defense. Remember, my weekly rankings will be up at thepffl.com, so you can follow along with this show. He's ranked 6th because of the Tennessee defense. They are horrible. Horrible. And I think Luck, even though it's in Tennessee, is going to have a really good game. Next up is Phillip Rivers going up against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. I have him ranked 8th. I think the bye was a good time for San Diego. It was good timing for San Diego. I think they got some stuff right. Worked in the week off. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for what is not a very good Cleveland Browns defense. So look for Phillip Rivers to have a big day. Next guy, I have him ranked 12th amongst quarterbacks. That's Carson Palmer going to Kansas City. Kansas City's pass defense has been okay this year. The addition of Brandon Carr has been, or the loss, of Brandon Carr, has been devastating to that team. And I think this is the week where Carson Palmer can start putting stuff back together. You got Darius Hayward-Bay completely healthy. Denarius Moore, McFadden still catching stuff out of the backfield. So like for Oakland, have a good day. Last on the start list is Brandon Whedon. Again, if you're desperate, I give you a guy who's desperate. But this guy is turning into someone who is not just a desperation play. I have him at 16, and he's going up against that San Diego defense that has not looked good this year. They give up a lot of yards through the air as well as a lot of touchdowns. I've said it for the past couple of weeks, so if you're a new listener, I'll probably say it for the next couple of weeks as well. I think that Cleveland offense is finally starting to click, and it's because of Whedon. Guys who I think should be out of your lineup this week at quarterback, once again, start with my very own Detroit Lion Matthew Stafford. Moved him all the way down to 14 this week. At home, so that helps. Seattle's defense doesn't play that great on the road, but that offense of Detroit is struggling. And they haven't fixed it yet. I don't know if they're going to. Next up, guy I think you should bench is Cam Newton going into Chicago. Chicago's defense is the real deal. I've talked about it all year. They're the number one defense in fantasy, number one defense against the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, everything. Cam Newton is not going to have a good day. He hasn't had a good year. This is not the week to test it and see if he's going to be back. Last but not least, guys who need to be on your bench, Alex Smith of the 49ers playing Arizona on Monday night. Smith is starting to regress. At the beginning of the year, he looked like a nice play. Might be a sleeper going throughout the rest of the year. Well, unfortunately, he's taken a few steps back since then. And the Arizona defense does a really good job against quarterbacks. It's on Monday night. Don't waste your starting spot. Moving on to running backs. First guy I think you should start, Alfred Morris. I have him ranked 7th going up against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's pass defense is pretty good. Their run defense is not. Alfred Morris is getting all the carries now. It's no longer a Shanahan iffy sort of situation. Who's he going to play? Who's not going to play? Alfred Morris is the guy. He should be in your lineup. Next guy up is a guy that I have to eat a little bit of crow on. A few weeks ago I told you he might be droppable. He's been at the bottom of my rankings for a long time. Well, this week I put him at 10. It's because of matchup and because of what he's been doing lately. And that's Chris Johnson of Tennessee. Looks like he might be getting it together a little bit. Offensive line playing better. He's not getting hit in the backfield as much. Something Chris Johnson didn't do well the first few weeks is yards after contact. He's not that type of runner. So if the offensive line lets guys into the backfield right away, Chris Johnson doesn't avoid that. It's not the kind of guy he is. He needs space to work. Well, they're starting to give him that, and he's making the most of it. Next guy, I have him ranked at 13th. Maurice Jones-Drew is out this week. Rashad Jennings should be in your starting lineup. Going up against Green Bay, not a great run defense at all. Jennings is going to get the bulk of the carries, probably 80 to 85%. Greg Jones might get a couple, but nothing worth mentioning. Rashad Jennings should be in your starting lineup. Philip Tanner of the Dallas Cowboys. He's a guy, again, if you're desperate, I'll give you a couple of guys. Giants don't have a great run defense. It's okay, but it's not great. DeMarco Murray in week 1 torched him. Now, I know, Philip Tanner, not DeMarco Murray. That offensive line has been playing a little bit better. Not a lot, but a little bit. And I think they want to run the ball in Dallas. So I think they'll be able to this year. Or this week, excuse me. Last two guys, if you're desperate. Jamie Harper, Tennessee. Told you on the weekly waiver wire show a couple days ago, if you're looking for a guy to pick up, he might be your man. He's getting touchdowns, goal line carries every week. And sort of along the same lines, Peyton Hillis, if you're desperate, is a guy who you might be able to start coming back from injury. Not a big fan of starting guys the first week they're back from injury. But here's a case we're going up against Oakland. The matchup's really good. Excuse me. And Peyton Hillis will probably get the goal line carries. Guys who should be out of your lineup at running back, Vic Ballard. Had a really good week last week. Great matchup this week against Tennessee. Unfortunately, Donald Brown practiced on Thursday completely. Full participant in practice. Probably will be the same on Friday. So Vic Ballard is not the number 1 there anymore. So get him out of your lineup. Next one's matchup based, and that's Stephen Ridley for the Patriots going up against St. Louis. The Rams are a better run defense than I think a lot of people give them credit for. And they will probably slow down the Patriots' run game. And they're not a very good pass defense. They get to the quarterback, but their secondary is okay. Cortland Finnegan, Jarrell Jernigan, I like those guys, but they're not great. I think Patriots are going to be able to throw and throw a lot. Next guy, Felix Jones. Some people think he's the replacement for DeMarco Murray. I disagree. I've been burned by Felix a lot. I'm sure you have too. I don't trust him. I like Philip Tanner. So if you have Felix Jones, there's better options. Plus, came out late this week, Felix is hurt. He's got some issues with his hamstring and his knee. So he might not get the full load that you expect him to. Moving on to wide receiver. Guys who need to be in your lineup. Eric Decker. I have him ranked 10th going up against that horrible New Orleans defense. Demaryius Thomas I have ranked 1, by the way. But Decker is 10th. He made it to the top 10 because of that matchup. Next two guys, Green Bay wide receivers, Randall Cobb and James Jones. Greg Jennings had surgery on Tuesday. He's out possibly for the rest of the year. Just came out yesterday that Jordy Nelson has a hamstring issue. He might not play this week. I don't think it hurts the Green Bay pass offense, but it obviously helps Randall Cobb and James Jones. So get them in your lineup. Guys, if you're desperate, Josh Gordon of Cleveland, been talking about him for a few weeks. He's their number 1. Donnie Avery of Indianapolis. He's their number 2. Good matchup against Tennessee this week. And lastly, Jeremy Curley of the Jets. Just continues to get production. And it looks like he is Mark Sanchez's favorite target. I'm not saying he's a big, tall wide receiver, and I don't really understand why guys aren't able to cover him, but he's getting catches. So if you're desperate, I like Curley as a low-end wide receiver 2, high flex option this week. Guys who should be on the bench, can't believe I'm going to say it, but I am. It's Larry Fitzgerald. Going up against a tough San Francisco defense, the production hasn't been there for Larry. Look, if I told you Larry Fitzgerald got 0 points last week, you would call me crazy, but it's true. 0 points for Larry Fitzgerald. I don't know if his teams are covering him more, triple teaming him, if the quarterback play is finally affecting his production, but his production just isn't there. You can't trust a guy just because of his name. So I would sit Larry Fitzgerald this week. It's tough. It's a hard decision to make. You got Larry Fitzgerald and you see him on your bench. It's going to be a weird thing to see. But you got guys who are giving you more production, and that's what you need right now. Next up is Deshaun Jackson going up against Atlanta. I have him down at 28 this week. That Atlanta defense, we've talked about it all year. It's the real deal. They're going to cover Jackson. They do a really good job of shutting down the deep ball, which is Jackson's biggest strength. Last night wide receiver is Steve Smith, the Carolina Panthers. Charles Tillman's going to be all over him in Chicago. Tillman does a great job of now being a shutdown corner. He used to be a cover 2 Tampa type corner where he needed safety help over the top. No longer the case. Tillman is a great one-on-one shutdown corner. So get Steve Smith out of your lineup. Moving on to tight end, guys who you should start. Heath Miller playing Washington. Washington is the worst defense against the tight end. Martellus Bennett going up against the Cowboys. Now I know Bennett's production has certainly dropped off since the first few weeks. But this is a Dallas team that he scored a touchdown against in week 1. It's his former team. He's going to want the ball. I think Eli gives it to him. Kobe Fleener. Tennessee is the second worst defense against the tight end. Fleener should be in your lineup. I have him all the way up to 11 this week. And Joel Dreesen of the Denver Broncos, not Jacob Tamme, should be in your lineup. New Orleans, pretty good against the tight end, but I think Peyton Manning's going to have an easy day against that secondary. And Dreesen's the guy that's been getting the targets. One tight end other than Tamme who I think should be on your bench, and that's Brent Selleck of the Eagles. Going up against Atlanta again. That defense is the real deal. Their linebackers do a really good job of covering the tight end, and I think Vic's going to be under a lot of pressure this week. So I apologize for my throat and my voice. Short show this week, but there's the guys who you need to put in your lineup and the guys who need to be on your bench to get you a win in Week 8. Remember, you can listen to all the great shows we have here on PFFL Radio Network. Saturday is the PFFL Live Breaking News Show. Make sure you tune into that. A lot of injury questions this week. Follow me on Twitter at JoshMartin33. I'll be on Twitter and Facebook all weekend long up until the 1 o'clock games. You can send me any Stardom 7 question that you have. I'm your host, Josh Martin. Keep smiling, keep listening, and always look both ways.